Twitter, WhatsApp, and all those social media platforms, no? Okay, so one of the most important inventions created during the Middle Age is actually the gunpowder. So the gunpowder is a byproduct, unintended, so wala ituyo, unintended byproduct of attempts made by the Chinese alchemists to invent the elixir of life. So what is this elixir of life? This is like a potion that will make them immortal, or probably make their lives longer than the usual, no? Unfortunately, this elixir of life never exists. No, they were not able to make elixir of life. Instead, they were able to produce gunpowder, and the gunpowder has been used far more advanced warfare. And because of the gunpowder, it has because of the gunpowder, a lot of things actually happen as recorded in the history. Okay, gunpowder has prompted foundation for the functionality of almost every now weapon used in wars since invention. Just like this one, for example, from the ancient bow and arrow. Okay, because of the gunpowder, it was now replaced with cannons. And this one, a Chinese warrior using gunpowder in weapons, no? So nanatay daghan kaayo nga mga technology that uses gunpowder for warfare and of course for security. Paper money. So paper money is, by the way, an offshoot of the invention of block printing, similar to stamping made by the Chinese in 17th century. If you notice along our discussion, the Chinese civilization has actually contributed a lot to the history of science and technology. In fact, before the paper money was invented, the Chinese civilization made use of gold and silver as their currency, but then they find it quite tiring to make use of gold and silver as the mode for paying bills, no? Paying for trade. So they intended to make use or invent the paper money. Now, the paper money was only used in the Chinese civilization because the Western country did not adapt to it. But then later they realized that paper money was of great use, so they already adopted the use of paper money instead of the use of metals like gold and silver. The mechanical clock has actually paved way for accurately keeping track of time. This was actually patterned through the Antikythera mechanism that was used during the ancient civilization. So in fact, the ancient civilization made use of the Antikythera mechanism. So the Antikythera mechanism is actually, the concept is like a clock, no? And it was invented by the early Greeks. No? So the mechanical clock was probably born as a scientific instrument for driving a model of the universe. So it basically gives us pattern on how the universe works or looks like. Okay? Now, the modern age. The modern age is the time where industrialization took place, but with greater risk. By the way, industrialization started when there was a shift of the use of biomass as a source of fuel to coal. So ang industrialization nag-start, okay, when the source of fuel, mainly biomass, was replaced by the use of coal instead. Okay, so during this time, there were already risks in human health, food safety, as well as in environment. Okay, now as the world population is exponentially increasing, so you do understand what does exponentially increasing, right? Like every say for example, pag naisa ka tao mamatay na pinapulo ka bata mapanganak, no? So muna dili kita makaingon nga ga-decline ang population sa isa ka country, or if we talk about world population, no? So dili ta makaingon nga decline siya maski pag pila ka war ang nakahitabo, though the population during World War II, okay, actually declined, and of course people during that time has reached their maturation period, meaning tigulang na kay sila, so na time actually increase, but then again nag-start na po increase ang population after World War II. No? So as the world population is exponentially increasing, people of the modern age realize the utmost importance of increasing the efficiency of transportation, communication, and production. Okay? So one of the most important technology that was created during the modern age is the microscope. Okay, this was invented by the father and son tandem in the name of Zacharias Janssen in 1590. So this is how the Janssen's microscope, compound microscope, looks like. So it's basically different from the microscope that we used to that we were exposed to during your high school or senior high school maybe, or probably during your college if you have subjects in sciences that allows you to manipulate the use of microscope, because this is only single lens, no, compared to the microscope that we have at present. Okay, the microscope was, by the way, an important progression from the single lens microscope that allows object to be magnified far larger than what simple magnifying lens can do. In fact, microscope has actually helped a lot in the field of medicine, no? So they tend to examine viruses, bacteria, or other small objects or subjects to be studied that are not visible with our naked eye. Okay, so this is actually how compound microscope looks like. So this is the normal microscope, normal good ang term. So mo ni siya ang microscope kung kita nato usually sa laboratory, and this is also another compound microscope. These two, by the way, are compound microscope, of course. But then this one is, and of course, these two are light dependent. No, kung wala kay light, so wala gid kay makita, ngit-ngit kaayo. Or mas ngit-ngit pa sa alketran, no, kana nga mga linyahan. Okay, so this one. This is actually light dependent. So nga light, for example, light gikan sa suga or kanang UV light, kanang light gikan sa sun, kana siya. This one, on the other hand, pwede kang you can actually use this in darker area, not necessarily dependent on kanang gikan sa fluorescent, because this here can already provide light. Like man ni siya, electricity conducted man ni siya. Pwede man ni siya isaksak sa, dili ni siya mugana actually kung dili ni mo siya isaksak sa socket na siya. So these two are the same compound microscope. These two are compound microscope. Lahi-lahi lang siya og source of light. Okay? Now, telescope. So telescope was actually invented by Galileo Galilei, and it is the most important technological invention in the study of astronomy during the modern age. In fact, because of Galileo's telescope, they were able to prove the people before during their time, okay, were able to prove the idea of Nicolas Copernicus, which we will discuss later, that the sun is the center of the solar system and all planetary system revolves around it, because he called that as heliocentric model, no? So later ato na siyang ma-discuss. So I will not discuss that one in detail in this topic. Okay? Galileo uses the telescope skyward and made important astronomical discoveries and identified the presence of craters and mountains on the moon. During that time, people believed that the Earth is flat. And people believe that the Earth is the largest object in the universe. However, with the aid of Galileo's telescope, they soon realized that it became clear to their mind that the universe is far larger than previously imagined, and the Earth is far smaller compared to the entire universe. So nasayop ilahang pagtuo. It was proven, they were proven wrong because of Galileo's telescope. So as I mentioned earlier, they thought that Earth is the largest object, no, found in the universe, and all those planets, stars, are just a mere, they were ituldok ra di ay si Earth sa vast na universe, sa dako kayo nga universe. The television. So the television was invented by the Scottish engineer Jean Logie Baird. This object in outline was shown in public in 1924. In 1925, there were already recognizable human faces. In 1926, there were already moving objects. And in 1928, there are already projected colored images. Now, these are just some of the few. There are so many technologies invented in the early 20th century that has actually paved way to the advances in technology that we have at present. A lot. And if I am going to discuss all of that, kasi masuko na si Ma'am Jessa kay wala na, mingon nagali siyang GG sa 200 ka slides, no? So how much more kung mingon ako pa to siya lang i-discuss apil. So if you have your STS book or you're living in the IT era book, you can actually access all these technologies invented during that time, no? But then I'm just discussing the very common gamit gihapon nato karon. Okay. Now, how many of you have this television that has a huge back, murag hunchback of Notre Dame? Is a raise of hand. Katubit ang TV nga dukdukon pa sa ibabaw kay wala na, dili na maklaro ang signal. So, do you still do that at present?
No,
you still do? Oh, nagyapon din mo na TV ay ano na, no? Because we have now the remote. Diba kana naman atong TV karon kaya tawag nato sa atong TV kay smart TVs, no? Smart siya kay smart lang, diba? I mean, pwede ra siya kanang paan, pwede ra siya ma-connect sa internet, no? So you don't need to have an antenna. Okay, pwede ra man nimo siya ma-connect sa internet, access internet using your smart TVs. And then nanatay mga flat screens, nanatay mga LED TVs or LED, no? So, before natay LCD nga TV, tapos karon natay LED. Actually, the same lang siyang concept, but then mas emphasize lang ang quality ni LED compared ni LCD, no? Because of the light that is being used, the light emitting diode. So, mas ipahayag niya, kumbaga, ang quality sa image na inyong kakita sa inyong screens. Okay? So, moving on. So, let's, as I mentioned earlier, there were already a lot of technologies that has been created during the ancient civilization, then during the Middle Age, and then during the modern age. But you have to understand that these technologies were not accepted directly by society. So, the society has questioned this kind of technologies, this kind of ideas. Ilang i-question, no, nga, of course, kinsa man say mo dawat sa ato akong, for example, mo na siya itong gituuhan, tapos na i-introduce nga bag-o. So, most likely, you will tend to question, just like what happened to Nicholas Copernicus. Now, intellectual revolution is basically referred to Greek speculation about the nature in the period before Socrates. Hence, the alternative technical terms are pre-Socratic or non-theological or first philosophy. So this, by the way, these people here, my uncles and your titos, are just some of the few scientists who actually contributed a lot to science and technology. So intellectual revolution and science and technology basically created a drastic change. Okay? Scientific the 16th and 17th centuries. Kanang gitawag man siya drastic change because again, no, from this belief to a different belief. Imagine, just like for example, sa kadong heliocentric and geocentric model. So they thought that the Earth is the center of the solar system as dili gyud kay solar system, center gyud siya sa universe daw, and all planetary system and other objects found in the universe are actually revolving around the Earth. Okay, mo na ilang gituuhan for so many years, but then this was like mura ba tawag ningon lang si Nicolas Copernicus taka raman mo di mo gud mao, so mo gud ni ang tinuod, so they were like unsa, di ba? So murag dugay na kay nako nagituhan pero moingon ka lang karon nga yung ana, so dili na siya pwede, something like that, no? So let's start with Nicolas Copernicus. So Nicolas Copernicus was a mathematician and an astronomer who proposed that the sun was stationary, meaning it's not moving at all, in the center of the universe and the Earth revolved around it. Okay? However, this idea of Copernicus has actually met a lot of controversies. Daghan kay questions, daghan kaayo mga tawag ni mga tao nga ga-provoke sa iya, ga-insult sa iya. In fact, gitawag pa si Copernicus before nga medyo naaday doon sa panguna kay ngano ko nakastorya siya ana. The Copernican revolution was, by the way, a paradigm shift from the Ptolemaic model of the heavens. So the Ptolemaic model was proposed by Ptolemy, which basically described the cosmos as having Earth as the stationary at the center of the universe, to the heliocentric model with the sun at the center of the solar system. Okay, so this is the Copernican revolution. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this idea of Copernicus has actually met a lot of controversies, questions, debates, and in fact, gikuan pa siya, gibutang pa siya sa prisuhan kay para daw dili niya ma-scatter yung idea about heliocentric model. However, because of the invention of Galileo Galilei, they were able to prove that Copernicus was correct. Okay? Because of the telescope, they were able to prove that, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the Earth is just a mere dust in a vast universe and that the Earth revolves around the sun. Okay? So, na-prove nila na siya. But then, again, wala nila na dawat diretsyo. It took years, really 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. No, it took long time. It took them for a long time to accept the idea that the sun is the center of the universe. The next one is Charles Darwin. So Charles Darwin, or Charles Robert Darwin in full, is an English naturalist, geologist, and biologist whose scientific theory of evolution by natural selection became the foundation of modern evolutionary studies. He actually wrote on the origin of species in 1859, where he explained, that organisms will tend to adapt to its environment for them to be able to survive. Okay? So the Darwinian revolution remains an acceptable phrase to describe the change in thought brought about by the theory of evolution, provided that the revolution is seen as occurring over an extended period of time. So this is actually, accordingly to Charles Darwin, this is how we evolve from ape to this guy, to this guy, to this guy, to this guy, and this guy. Okay? But then, of course, if we include a religion in our discussion, then that is where the debate comes in. So, dili daw gid na siya pwede. That is why we should not mix up science and religion in one setting, kay daghan gid kay na siya makuan, daghan na din kay mag-arise nga mga questions, tapos mag-debate na, maglalis na, kasi lain-lain man gud ang belief, no? So according to Darwin, on his on the origin of species, he was actually explaining in their natural selection. So what is this natural selection? It's an evolutionary process by which organisms, including humans, not only limited to plants, not only limited to animals rather, but humans as well, inherit, develop, and adapt traits that favor survival and reproduction. Okay? So they tend to adapt to their surrounding, to their environments for them to be able to survive and to reproduce. Okay, kung dili sila mo survive, meaning dili sila ka-reproduce. And kung dili sila maka-reproduce, meaning to say mahimong extinct ang ilahang lahi. Okay? So just like this one, for example, the bird, no? Juspiza magnirostris, kani siya. Pardon me for reading scientific name. I'm not actually used to it. Okay, so Juspiza magnirostris. If you try to compare their beaks, okay, gonna change ang iyang beak through time. Now, kani siya, dako iyang beak kasi most likely ang source sa iyang food dako mag-hold. For example, sa kahoy, no, na-hold dito nga dako. So, dako iyang beak. But then, kay ga-evolve man ang iyang surrounding, ga-change man, not evolve, but ga-change iyang surrounding, okay? So, ga-evolve pod ang iyang shape sa iyang beak para makasurvive siya. Okay? Kung dili mag-evolve ang iyang beak, so dili siya kakaon, mamatay siya. Diba? So, this is just an example. And this is basically true to all animals. Kay evolve siya. O bitaw nang naatay mga lahi nga breeds, kay nag-evolve siya. Okay? Just like this, no? Kay-evolve gihapon ang mga kani sila. Sa una kay kaon na sila og prutas karon kay mogamit na daw sila og mogamit na og laptop og smartphones. Ito, joke lang. Alright. Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis. It's a clinical method for treating psychopathology through dialogue between a patient and a psychoanalyst. Okay? Sometimes, cute kayo. Dili siya cute, but students, pagpangutanan ni most students ba, siya yung subject karon ba? Na ako'y psycho ba? Diba? So, you do know what psycho means, right? Siya meaning sa psycho. Buang. Diba? Nakay klase ba? O nakay klase ba? Sa klase ni mo, psycho ba? So, buang imong klase, diba? So, it's supposedly psych. No? So, dili siya psycho. So, what did what is Freudian revolution? So, it basically discusses the id, the superego, and the ego. So, this is Freudian psychoanalytic theory of personality. So, the id tells you, I want to do that now. Karon na yun, isida. Like, lagta, sisi, karon na yun. Diba? Super ego tells you it's not right to do that. Okay? So, tintal ka, uy, mangupya ko, babe, tanaw na ko yung answer. So, may yun siya, ayaw, kay masuko si ma'am. Kung na siya, dili na maayo. Then, the ego will tell you, maybe we can compromise. Try lang good, bas hindi, dili ta masapnan. Okay? Something like that. So those intellectual revolution, okay, nag-revolt from the word revolt. So they actually changed what was the established belief into the true ones. That is why we were able to produce better and more efficient technology at present time. So the evolution of technology is, by the way, dependent on human rationality. Meaning to say, it's not because scientists were curious or scientists wanted to study something. No. This is actually, or those inventors or those technicians or those who actually created technologies at present, dili bud pasabot nga gibuhat nila tungod kay curious sila. Probably yes, no? But kung ikaw mismo nag-create, ibuhatin mo na siya kay na-curious ka, probably yes. But the later nga mga inventions patterned from your original invention, which is, by the way, evolution, dili na siya makonsider nga kay na-curious ka. This is actually because of human needs. Need siya sa tao. So, for example, need man sa tao nga mag-commute. So, nag-create sila og sakyanan na ay 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, no? need man sa tao nga like kanang mag-communicate. So nag-create sila og cellular phones. Okay? Mobile phones, smartphones. Since need man sa tao nga mag-work og mga documents, so nag-create sila og laptop, PCs para mas dali sa ilang nga end. Okay? So tool is the basic concept of technology. Without tools, then there will be no technology. Now, if you combined these tools, then you produce machines. Okay? So what are examples of tools? Hammer, nails, saw, kana siya. Without these tools, then it would be impossible for you to build your house or to build a simple chair or to build a simple table. Okay? But when you combine these tools, you're making a machine, which is, by the way, can do the task faster and more efficient. Okay? Example, vehicles. Vehicles become more of a necessity rather than a form of luxury. 30 years, 40 years, 50 years ago, ang maka-afford lang yun og sakyanan kay katurag yung naay kwarta. And we considered vehicles before as a want. No? Gusto ko, palit ko ani. Kana siya. Diba? Like, itong gusto na ako o kani kinahanglan na ako. Okay? But as of present time, it becomes a necessity, especially if you are traveling a longer distance or probably mang-grocery ka or kanang gusto kayong ulan. Diba? Makita nimo ang mga tao mag-line sa dalan, taas kaayo, kaya nag-ilog sila sa available na seats, no? So, just like for example, the smartphones. Before, cellphone pa man before, dili pa man matawag nga smartphone, no? So, cellular phone. So, cellular phones can only function in two ways. It can only text and call. Mura gid na iyahang function. But today, we have smartphones. Ya asa man gikan ang smartphones. This is based from the cellular phones. So, mas advanced siya. Mas advanced. So basically it will allow us to send images, upload images, access our email, play games, mobile games, no? So mas better siya compared sa cellular phones. And before, this is just a mere want. 10, 20, 30 years ago, mingo nagid ka nga want ka man ang cellphone, kinsa may kinahanglan og cellphone, ay nga pwede naman ta magstorya-storya, diba? Like kinsa may kinahanglan og cellphone nga naman tay telepono katong tuyok-tuyokon pa. So mo na ilahang idea before, okay? But as of today's time, dili na gyud mabilin pa ang libro sa Jack 4, mabilin pa ang libro sa STS, mabilin pa ang libro sa Living in the 80 era, dili lang gyud mabilin ang cellphone. Kaya nga naman, kung mabili ng cellphone, na makachat sa uyab, na makachat kang crush, di ba? Or dili na makamay day kung nag-study daw siya pero wala din ito nag-study. Okay? So, wait lang ha, medyo signal na si laptop, nakamatsulo na daw siya, kajut lang. Wait a bit. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, cellular phones, rather smartphones, is already considered as a necessity, diba? You will not be able to attend this online lecture if you do not have your smartphones. Okay? So necessity na yun siya. Dili na siya makaingon nga, want lang na. And before, only those privileged can actually buy smartphones. Pero karon, kiki lugar ng kuan, na-offer sa mall, napautang, so gali na,
installment
home credit. Oh, yeah. Home credit lang, di ba? Masulod lang kag stool ba? Magkakanaw lang kag cellphone. Ya, ingon din ka nga, pwede man na i-home credit. O, di ba? Paspas kay sila mag-offer of home credit. So, daga na kaayo. There are actually a lot of smartphones nga, dili gyud kay siya katong famous nga brand like Apple or Samsung or Sony, but then can still allow you to navigate online, no? Access your email, upload, download photos, create TikTok entries, diba? Dala man mo ka ng ganahan kay mo ng TikTok, imbis ka mag-study, na-stress daw sa mag-TikTok sa kubi. So ang ending, ang TikTok na nun ang na-prioritize, dili na nun ang study, no? So that's it, okay? So when you talk about evolution of technology from, of course, ancient civilization, so manual, no? that the term automation took into the, the term automation was in the picture already. This includes sensors, wireless applications, expert systems, and system integrations. Now, you're very much familiar with sensors like for example, remote control or the sliding door that you can find in malls. So how many of you have tried to play with that sliding door? Kanang feeling ninyo gamo na pinakagamanan sa tibuok planet. No?
Dira sa Ayala, ma'am.
Yes, Ayala, di ba? Gawas sulod. Then, padlungon na lang mo sa guard nga, dili man na siya dulaan. Di ba? So, yes, of course, kasi it's new to us and we find it funny. And because we find it funny, so we tend to play with it. No? So, kaya siya, sensor na siya. You also have, I'm not sure if you have it at home, kanabit ang mga movement sensitive na light. Do you have that at home? Installed sa gawa sa inyong balay na ay bulb, pero dili siya actually
Silingan nga, ma'am. Silingan, ma'am.
Silingan. Okay. So na ay bulb, no? Pero abi ni mo ngit-ngit, pero pag muduol na ka sa bulb, kay movement sensitive man siya, musiga siya automatically. In fact, naapo na siya, gina-apply po na siya sa mga dalan para to save energy. Okay, dili gaon ang mga post. Wow. Yeah, solar. Okay? Na dili gaon ang mga post, no? So ana ra siya mo on pag naay mulabay nga sakyanan. So mo lang ginatawag nato nga sensor. You also have wireless applications like Bluetooth speaker, Bluetooth nga mouse, Bluetooth nga keyboard, no? You also have Bluetooth in your smartphones. Smartphones now has actually an advanced Bluetooth mechanism. You also have expert systems and system integration. Now, when you talk about system integration, by the way, this is an example of automation, no? Machine na ang dagan sa iya. Dili na siya kay manapa kay makita nga mga tao nga mag-arsa aning mga cases, no? Grabe na ra ba kamahal si Coke? Tag 150 na isa ka litro tungod kay the sugar shortage. So sa mga malls, if you try to visit, ay nakabutang dito. Soda is only limited to 3 bottles per customer. So kato mga dili kay inom og Coke, wala problema. Pero kato mga Coke addict, isa may mga Coke addict din ibe, tasang kamot. Ayan. Ya daw big, yun sa maninyo pag-manage nga mahal naman ang Coke.
Ma'am.
Ondang sa si Yvonne nandiyan. Okay, tara ba? Ay, by the way, before I forget, no, congratulations, DI, sa College of Education yesterday. You were actually great during the General Assembly. Lingaw kay kung tanaw sa inyong, di ba? Yung mga bulak-bulak, kung gusto niyo ang mga, si Ibon danto kay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tulo makita gid ako si Ibon, isugay siya. Isa, duha, tulo, and down, di ba? Gani, freshmen. But then, I saw the officers guiding the freshmen. No? So, we were like, naka-white man to sila kahapon. Tapos, when they are about to present, nag-change din sila black. Yun din ko, wow, dato kayong education ba? Dagan sa nina. Dagan sa nina. Dili kayo sila prepared. I like the body paint, no? So, tsada kayo siya effect katong blazing phoenix. And where's the president? Is the president here? Where's the president? Is she here?
Third year ang president po, ma'am.
I see. She's so pretty with her costume. She's so pretty. And when she was wearing her Filipina dress too, she was so pretty. Pero like, uy, kinsa nang gwapa kaayo, taga-education. Gwapa, gwapo ang mga taga-education da, no? So, gwapo mga taga-education. Congratulations again for the presentation yesterday. So, to siya interlude. Okay, so the integration is made in such a way that these interconnected systems are capable of self-acting or self-regulation. So it doesn't need a person, no, to manipulate, because this is already includes integration of systems that can self-act. Now, this is actually the fear of the many, especially Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking, but they actually feared more about the AI later. na sila kaugulingong kuan, they can act, they can regulate itself. They are worried and we have in front. So intelligent system is not actually the same with automation. Okay? Automation or machines that needs, of course, humans. You control para mo work, i-on, para mo work, para mo gana. So i-timer para na siya automation. More complex and is more capable of learning. Intelligent system, by the way, uses the concept of AI. Your smartphones uses the concept of AI. If you're using biometrics like fingerprint or your facial recognition to unlock your smartphones, that, by the way, is artificial intelligence, or so just like this one. Ultron and Tanisha, what's this line? Mission. They are not robots. They are artificial intelligence. And as I mentioned, accordingly to Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking, so manangin lang anawa ang kaluluwa ni Stephen Hawking, no? These are actually the kind of intelligence that we have to be careful, because they can act on their own. They can think on their own. No? They can control everything on their own. Okay? However, we must not be scared of that unless this artificial intelligence will fall into the hands of those who wanted, chaos. Just like Thanos or Ultron kana sila. So kung ang iyang aim is just to create chaos, ana ta mahadlok. But if AI is used for the betterment of the society, then there's nothing to worry about. No? Parehas ra gud na siya sa ako nga field class. My field of specialization is chemistry. So most likely, I know how to create shabu. Ay mong saba ha, what you hear, what you learn, what you hear in this meeting, ato ra gid na siya. Okay. So I know how to create one because I know the process, no? But then I did not make one. I did not use the knowledge that I have to do evil, because I know ethically and morally I will be questioned. No? So magdepende rin gyapon na siya sa tao, no? So wala na ko siya gigamit for the purpose of gaining more. Diba? Kaya kung magbuhat kag shabu, maligya ka, dako biya kayong bayad ana, diba? Pero wala na ko siya gigamit. Instead, nagtudlo ko, I share the knowledge that I have so that everybody will also learn, no? Something like that. Anyway, moving on. So, computers has actually evolved based on the type of components used in the design. Okay? Accordingly, scientists and researchers identified 5 generations of computers based on their design, sustainability, and reliability. So when you say design, of course, compact ba siya, tako pa siya, gamay pa siya, bugat pa siya, mana siya ang design, no? Or will it be able to withstand environmental conditions? Sustainability is how long will it survive? Will it survive heavy tasks? Or basin maglag lang siya pareha sa ato ang mga laptop na 5 years, 6 years, 7 years old na? By the way, when you have technologies like if you have smartphones, laptops, it's not really advisable that you have to keep them just because for the sake na naay sentimental value kay gihatag sa inyong ex. So, ex na gali, wala na siya meaning. So, dapat i-dispose na po na siya. So, technologies like smartphones, laptops, unlike PC, no? PC can be, you can always maximize your PC, but laptop, no. No, dili nimo siya pwede ma-upgrade unlike sa PC. So kana mga PCs ninyo, or rather laptops rather, smartphones, kung gagamit niyo na siya for 1 year or 2 years, anya na ana mo'y kwarta nga ikapuli, baligya na ninyo siya, because technology as time passes by depreciates its value. Unlike land, no, ang yuta dili gina siya mag-depreciate, it will always appreciate its value. Mutaas magkadugay ang panahon, magkamahal iyang value, but ang technology dili. So kanang mga sakyanan na pwede pa siya magamit, imo na gina siyang i-dispose as early as possible. No, si Ma'am Jessa, na may sakyanan si Ma'am Jessa, i-dispose na gina ni Ma'am Jessa, yung gina-ibaligya sa ako para makapalit siyang bag-o. Di ba, Ma'am Jess? Ano to si Ma'am? Naapa ba si Ma'am Derek?
Lagi, ma'am. Kasi gusto ka.
Uy, na-pressure na noon ko. Sayop na noon akong example da. Bitaw. So, imo gina siyang i-dispose, no? Kay mag-depreciate, magod ang value. Tapos, you will just end up, madili na siya mahalin noon kay wala na. Obsolete na iyahang model. So, kana kung naamoy kwarta. No? Pero kung wala mo'y kwarta, inyong ibaligya, gamit pa kaayo siya, ayaw lang. So, you have to save at least. Okay? And of course, reliability. So when you say reliability, how valid and how correct the output will it give? So kana siya. So let's have let's try to talk about what are these generations of computers. So the first generation of computer was created or built in 1946 and in 1959. They called it as Electronic Numeric Integrator and Calculator, or the ENIAC. In fact, kani siyang ENIAC, mura ni siya o, I'm not sure if I have an image here, but I think I did not kay mura mudaghan na gid akong slides, no, kung ako ni siyang butangan og image. So the ENIAC actually looks like a aparador sa inyong mga lola. Ingana siya kadako. And ang iyang capacity is only 128 MB. And imagine kung nara kay 128 MB nga storage karon, di ba, murag maglabad imong ulo kay ang ato ba mga storage karon kay tag 1 terabyte. Diba? Kung flash drive at ang mga storage na pinakadako nga storage na to sa flash drive is I think 32 gig or 64 gig. I'm not sure lang kay I'm not using flash drive na manggod pagsugod sa online, no? Next, you have the second generation computers. It was created around 1959 to 1965. So this time, the transistors were already used as the interior sections of the computer, no? So the second generation computer are more likely be efficient as to compare to the first generation computer. The first gen computers are electricity wise, it's not, because it's kind of expensive. It generates a lot of electricity as to compare to the second generation computer. Now, though we were able to save a lot of electricity for second gen computers, still this is expensive because of the transistors. Mahal man ang transistors. The third generation computer already make use of integrated circuit. Okay, I'm not sure if you're familiar with IC. How many of you are familiar with IC or integrated circuit? Katubitang murag microchip. Can you raise your hand if you're familiar with that IC? Is you familiar sa IC? Si Ronald lang. Isa pa. Familiar mo IC? Okay. Sige, let me show you na lang kay lisod kayo mag-imagine, no? Let me show you what does an IC look like. Here. Na siya. Muna siyang IC. Sometimes they call this one as spider. Ano Spider-Man? Kaya nagaman siyang TL. So muna siya ang gigamit sa third generation computers. Within your IC, you have already transistors, resistors, capacitors na siya sa sulod, no? And it's too powerful that it can actually accommodate a lot of minuit electronic systems. So kani siya tong IC. This is actually the internal of the IC. If you try to look on it, to the zoom, check nato kung ma-zoom ba. Okay, muni siya. So, muna siya ato tinatawag na PCB, kaning green. Okay, so, natay kaning IC within an IC, no? Siya transistors, capacitors, and resistors. Then, muna din na siya ang gamiton sa sulod para mas paspas ang operating, mas mapaspas ang operation within the computer system. So these are the different types of integrated circuits. So let me ask the question again. How many of you are now familiar with IC? May I see a raise of hand? Alright, so at least kabalo na mo on what does an IC looks like. Okay, so let me go back. Thank you very much. You may lower your hands now. So let me go back to my presentation earlier. Okay, so moving on. The fourth generation of computers already uses VLSI. So what does VLSI means? Kato mga previous na ko nga mga students. So meaning sa VLSI. Kung kadumdum pa mo. What does VLSI means? Wala na sila nakadumdum. Yes, Miss Sahulga, what does VLSI means? Wait. So VLSI stands for Very Large Scale Integration. So integrated circuit, gihapon na siya. Okay? Yeah, Very Large Scale Integration. Thank you, Google. So nag-Google gini sila pas pinakurat para ma-identify, ma-define on sa VLSI. So the fourth generation computers already uses VLSI and it has 5,000 electronic components inside it. Na siya. But you might find yourself in awe if you will learn the what VLSI is capable of. So in fifth generation computers, okay, they changed it from VLSI to ULSI. So ang V kay very large man, no? So kaning U is ultra large. Integrated, ultra large scale integration. In the fifth generation computer, it can actually hold up to 10 million electronic components. No? Imagine, from 5,000 only, nanay 10 million dani within your microprocessor chip. Na siya. So it's just a chip, just like for example, in your laptop, your CPU, their central processing unit, is actually a microprocessor. Sometimes, wrong inyong conception, no? There's always a misconception about the CPU because ang inyong una-una sa CPU kay katong black box. How many of you have this in mind? Itong black box bitaw sa inyong personal computers? May si a raise of hand. Kung may tag CPU kay katong black box. Kung murag container. So, dili to siya CPU, ha? You call that a system unit. We will discuss that one later. A CPU is the central processing unit. This is where all data is processed so the computer can give you information. Okay? So data and information, by the way, are two different things because when you say data, these are just near data. When you, for example, you took the pretest earlier, okay, and then I collected the scores. So these are what we call data. But if I am going to process those scores and categorize them accordingly, like for example, how many got 10, how many got 11, how many got 12, and so on and so forth, that is what we call information. So information is a process data. And when you process data, you have information, and this information actually give you knowledge. So kana siya. So do not confuse yourselves with the terms data and information. Okay. So what makes a computer work? So by definition, computer is an electronic device that manipulates information or data. They can store, retrieve, and process data. It contains both hardware components and software applications. These two will always come together. Marini siyang husband and wife because hardware components is useless without software applications. And more importantly, software applications will not work without hardware components. Kana siya, no? These two are actually done within your computer, within your CPU or the central processing unit. Kung sa human pa na siya, okay, the CPU and the human body is actually your brain, okay, your CNS, the central nervous system, wherein information, data information, thoughts are actually processed. Hardware. This pertains to the computer's physical devices. Anything that can be seen by your naked eye. Anything that you can touch. No? Except lang sa taste o smell. Ayun na siya. Tilawi kay lisod po no imong tilawan ang mouse. So any part of the computer that can be seen and touched. So computer hardware includes monitor, speaker, keyboard, mouse. So I was actually, I told you earlier, no, I was scanning the answers to the pretest. So na question that which of the following is not part of the computer system? So na options that mouse, mouse, monitor, keyboard, tapos sketchpad. Tapos na-shock ko kay na nag-answer og monitor. So na-imagine ko, unsa kahay ang ginagamit no kung magamit siya laptop or PC. So monitor, by the way, is a part of the computer system. Kasi dili part niya ang sketchpad. Okay? Sketchpad para man ang drawing book. Okay? So this includes monitor, speakers, keyboard, and mouse. And you have this one, you call this as the black box. Ay yung tawag ninyo ani CPU. So dili ni siya CPU ha. Kani siya, natawag nato ni system unit. Itawag siyang system unit because all important components that will make the system work is actually found inside this black box or system unit. So you have your power supply inside, your DVD room inside, your motherboard, which basically contains all those integrated circuit, transistor, resistor, etc., etc. You have your RAM, you have your VGA card, your sound card, your hard disk, and of course your reader all-in-one internal. Kana siya. These consist of interrelated electronic devices. Kani siya, these are interrelated electronic devices used to manipulate computer's operation, input devices, and output devices. So by the way, what makes a computer system? There are only three important things that you have to remember. Input, output, storage, output. That makes a computer system. So kung wala siya input pero nasa storage o output, dili siya ma-consider as computer system. Kaya saan pag-output kung wala input, no? Kung wala po kay output, dili po siya ma-consider nga computer system. Kaya nag-input ka, i-store, so asa man imong output. So dapat naagi ni siyang kompleto, gini siyang tulo. Okay? Input, storage, and output. So input devices, obviously you're very familiar with this. You have the keyboard, you have mouse. Okay, mouse can either be mechanical and optical. You know what are mechanical mouse, right? Katong na ay bola sa ilalom. Katong tanggalon ninyo ang buling kay para mo activate ang sensor. How many of you have used the mechanical mouse? Kasi naka-experience gamit ang mechanical mouse. Kana, no? Kana siya. And then, inyo din ibundak-bundak kung dili na siya mugana, only to find out na daghana daayoy dirt nga nag-stick sa ball, tsaka sa iyang roller. Kana siya. The optical mouse, the one that we are using at present time, no, katong gagamit og LED or light emitting diode, which is, by the way, kind of sensitive to the surface that you are using. And mouse can either be wired or wireless. So, you're familiar with wired? Ang uban, they prefer the wired kasi mas barato daw.